Hi, what's up? Hello. My name is Liz, and you're watching For Booking Out Loud. So today I thought it would be appropriate, since it's inching ever closer to 2021, and one of my goals is to read all of my physically owned books. I need to review what physical books I have and exactly how many I do have, because it's gone up a little bit since that video. Yeah. Holidays? But I'm really hoping to keep this video a little shorter, so if I come across a book I want to talk about, I'm going to do so, but if not, I'm just gonna hold it up and toss it aside and just know it's part of my physical TBR. And I also believe I'm going to make a counter over here, or over here, wherever it ends up, just to keep track of all of the books that I own that I need to read next year. So let's get into it. I'm starting with my books that are in a pile outside of my shelves. So they still don't have a home yet. They're just living on my floor. And here we go. Bookmarks. Whew. So the first book I have is the Burnt Empire starter. It's a duology, and this is Upon a Burning Throne. The sequel doesn't come out until April or May, springtime, late spring, I believe. So I know I'm not going to start this guy until later on, but very, very excited about him. And then I have City of Girls. I know last time I read this, I made a mistake on the summary. So it sounds like City of Girls is about a woman kind of finding herself. So coming of age story, I believe. Yeah, not 100% sure what it's about, but excited to get through it. Now I have a Ken Kesey novel right here, Ken Kesey, and this is one of the authors I really want to look into, and partly because of this book. It sounds incredible, and wow. Sometimes a Great Nation by Ken Kesey. And this is one of the books that really has excited me about this author. He's from Oregon. He wrote One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I honestly admit I didn't like that book too much, but I haven't read it for a very long time, so I might be enticed to reread it, especially if this book ends up being as good as I hope it is. And then we have My Abandonment, and it's another book that takes place in Portland, Pacific Northwest. Always love it, and I got it for sale. So yeah. The Good Daughter by Karen Slaughter. Now this one I'm really, really excited for. I just haven't gotten around to it. I read Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter and I absolutely loved it, so I'm hoping this is going to be along those lines. And from what I've heard, it is. And then I have Lost City Radio. Yeah, I forgot how good this book sounded. It is about Norma, who is the host of a radio station called Lost City Radio in an unnamed capital city of an unnamed Latin American country. And it's really her trying to find and unite people who have been lost and families who have been devastated by a civil war. And it just sounds honestly amazing, and I'm really excited to get to it whenever I do. And then I have Don't Ask Me Where I'm From. I know it was a novel that came out this year. I don't believe it's this Jennifer De Leon's debut novel, but it sounds interesting, so I'm excited. And then we have The Island of Sea Women, which I believe explores the fisherwomen of Jeju Island in South Korea. And it's a very particular population, and they've been doing the same fishing practices for centuries. I'm excited. It sounds really interesting to me, honestly. This is Steve Martin's Pure Drivel. I don't honestly know what it's about. I got this book from a very friendly neighbor when she was moving, but it's in my library and I need to figure out if I'd like it or not. It's really short, so I'll get through it really fast, I hope. Okay, this one's a doozy. I have the complete works of H.P. Lovecraft, and it's long. Not the longest book in my library still, just saying. That's gonna be the stand. But it, I believe, has all of Lovecraft's horror stories, and I really got into horror this past year, so I picked this guy up because I wanted to see where people got their inspiration. I'm very aware that he is a problematic author, racist to the extreme, and very explicitly racist, but I also want to know the origins of a lot of horror books that I end up reading recently. So it's a pro and a con, and I might get to it in October next year. We'll see. That seems appropriate. Okay, and then I have Wilder Girls, which I believe is another like disease apocalyptic story. Okay, yeah, Diseased. I don't know, I've been really into it recently, so I'm excited to read this guy too. I've heard opposing opinions, both good and bad, so we'll see. This one's still in the plastic wrap because I just got it for the holidays. There we go. I just got it for the holidays, and I know there's a lot of loose stuff in this book, and I'm kind of scared to open it before I'm ready to read it because I know I lose things really easily. But this is Ship of Theseus. It's by J.J. Abrams and Doug Dortz. I'm excited to read it. It just sounds like a very interesting book. And then these two, Humans and Humans of New York. It is from a guy that I've been following on Instagram. He takes pictures of people and just asks them their story, and I absolutely love it. And I finally got my hands on his first book, Humans of New York, which kind of compilates a lot of the interviews he's been doing. And then this is his most recent release, Humans, and it mostly talks about people outside of New York that he's photographed and interviewed everywhere in the world. So I'm really excited to get into it, and it just looks like a beautiful book. So we have these beautiful photographs and then their stories. So, hey. Okay, the next couple books again are from neighbors that have moved, so I'm not too familiar with them, but again, they're on my bookshelf, and therefore I will read them. I have The Road, Cormac McCarthy. Don't know what it's about. I have no idea. I'll figure it out when I start reading it. Amsterdam by Ian McEwan. Again, I'll figure it out later. Okay, these two books are by the same guy. I have Lost in Place by Mark Salzman and Iron and Silk by Mark Salzman. Yeah, I don't know anything. I think they both have to do with Kung Fu or martial arts of some sort. I don't know. I will figure it out. Ooh. Weird. And then I have The Master by Colm Tobin. yeah, we'll figure it out. And then we have All the King's Men by Robert Penn Warren. Apparently it's about American politics or early American politics. We'll see it once again. And then we have Survival Math by Mitchell S. Jackson. I've talked about this book before. I will be reading it soon, hopefully. Cannibalism. Again, I've talked about it. Really excited to finish it. Start it. So we'll get to it eventually. Then I have King Leopold's Ghost, which is another nonfiction I just haven't gotten around to. Angela's Ashes, another nonfiction. I believe it's more of a memoir on this one. And it sounds incredibly sad. That's why I've been putting it off for a while. And then lastly in this pile is Tom Wolfe's The Bonfire of the Vanities. It was given to me. I have no idea if I even like Tom Wolfe. I think I have another, I don't know. I'll look for the other novel I have by him because I swear I have 2 of these. But this one was in the pile that I haven't read yet, so we'll see. Now I need to get my Stephen King and classics down, so give me 1 second. Okay, this is gonna be a doozy. Okay. So let's start with my 3 books that didn't make it into the pile on the floor. They're not classics and they're not Stephen King, so that's why. I have the other Tom Wolfe that I owned. I knew I owned more than one. A Man in Full. We'll see. Is he? Are they? I don't know. And then this Tom Wolfe doesn't have its dust jacket, but it is I Am Charlotte Simmons. Yeah, we'll see. I think it's my shortest Tom Wolfe book, so I might start with this one. Used books. And then the last one on my shelf that's not a classic or Stephen King is A River of Stars by Guy Gabriel Kay. I actually really enjoy this author and I don't know why it's taken me so long to get to this book. It is kind of a sequel or prequel of a different book that I've read by him called Under Heaven, and it was absolutely phenomenal, amazing, beautiful, and really interesting. He goes in depth on the historical background of his books. And Under Heaven was based in the Tang dynasty of China, and I believe this one is based in the Song dynasty, so it's a while later after that first book. So I might actually need to read that first book before I get into this one. But either way, very excited for this one, and again, I can't believe it's taken me this long to get to it. Okay, let's go classics, because I have quite a few classics I have not gotten around to reading. My bad. I'm not sure if this counts as a classic, but I'm just going to. 1,000 Splendid Suns is part of this. I actually really didn't like The Kite Runner by this author, but we'll see. I own it. I'm reading it. I have 100 Years of Solitude. Again, have not read it. We'll see. Okay, so To Kill a Mockingbird. I'm pretty sure this one is from my brother. I never got around to reading it when I was in high school. I was able to pick, what was it? It was like book clubs for our classic unit when we were supposed to read this book. And I avoided this one like the plague. And instead I read Invisible Man by Ralph Emerson, I believe. And I'm really, really glad I did because I enjoyed that book immensely. And this one I'm not sure I'm going to enjoy, but it's an American classic, I guess. So we'll get around to reading to it eventually. I have Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I have to admit, I'm not as familiar with the Bronte sisters' works as I probably should be, because they're supposed to be literary classic staples. But Wuthering Heights is one that I hope to get to eventually. Then I have David Copperfield. I, again, haven't really read Charles Dickens, but this is one that I do want to read because it's, I think, it's one of the staple fantasy books of the classics, I guess. Again, I'm not too aware. David Copperfield's supposed to be a staple of a classic. Ooh. Here's Emma by Jane Austen. Love Pride and Prejudice. Did not really enjoy Sense and Sensibility, so I'm hoping Emma will be my tiebreaker, I guess, on if I really like Jane Austen or not. So we'll be excited. So it'll be exciting. Whew. The Portrait of a Lady. I don't know. I've never heard of this book personally, but it says Barnes Noble Classics right there. It's going in the pile. Oh yeah, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Really like the Johnny Depp movie version of this book. So I've been meaning to read it for forever. All right, this is one that my brother gave me years and years ago. It's called The Grimm's Fairy Tales. I just haven't gotten around to reading it. I'm sure I really, really would enjoy it. I just need to spend the time to enjoy it. The Count of Monte Cristo. I'm pretty sure I stole this one from my brother. I just need to read it. It's fine. It's fine. Alright, I have I have Don Quixote, and again, I just really need to sit down and read it. It sounds like a wonderful tale, and one that I actually might enjoy that's a classic, so again, it's kind of a doozy of a book though. Oh well. Hey! Another weird bookmark. Who was it? Oh, yeah. This is one of the books I got from my neighbor. This is going away. And then my last classic that I need to sit down and actually consume is Robinson Crusoe, which again sounds like a really interesting book. Really interesting classic. And I know it's a classic because again, it says Barnes & Noble Classics right there. Ha, 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 ha. Yeah, we'll see if I do enjoy this one. All right, on to my Stephen King collection that I still have yet to read. It's a lot less than last year, so I am pretty happy about that. Ooh, this one has a great picture of him on the back. I love that about these old books. But I have The Dark Half. Not quite sure what it's about. Looks like someone started reading it at some point. I don't think that was me. But hopefully I'll get to it next year. Oh, 4 Past Midnight. I'll read the summary when I'm about ready to read it. But again, the picture. Oh, I have Black House by Stephen King and Peter Straub. And I know this is one of a couple books they did together, so it'll be interesting to read this one. Ugh, such small font. Yeah, we'll see maybe if I can get this through the library, so it's not killing my eyes. Then I have Nightmares and Dreamscapes, which I'm really excited for actually, because I know this is one of his short stories, collection of short stories, I believe. Yeah, I believe it's one of his collection of short stories, and it just sounds like something I'd really like. Then I have The Eyes of the Dragon, which is actually Stephen King's attempt to write a fantasy that his daughter could read when she was younger after he wrote quite a few horror books. I've heard good and bad things about it, a lot of bad actually, but I'm just excited to get to it because it's a really interesting cover, I think. Just having that red and all green. And there's no picture of him on the back, which is unfortunate. Just gonna put that out there. And then I have The Skeleton Crew by Stephen King, and again, I've inherited this from my mother. She says this scared the out of her. So we'll see. We will see. And this one does have a picture of King on the back. Beautiful. Yeah. And lastly, I have Needful Things by Stephen King. No picture on the back. And I believe this is another collection of short stories. Oh, ha ha ha. This is actually another collection of short stories. My bad. This one. Huh. No, I was completely wrong. Okay, so this one's the collection of short stories, and this one is a long, long novel. Couldn't tell you where they're at, but excited for the collection, excited for the novel, eventually. So those are all the books that I need to physically read, hopefully next year. I know I have a ton of James Patterson, which lives right here, that I haven't read, and I honestly don't really want to. I'm not a huge fan of James Patterson, and I'm basically holding these books for, again, my mother. That's okay. But then I have quite a few John Grisham books, and I just don't feel like reading them right now, but I might look into them later. So we'll see. Wish me luck. And thank you for watching. I hope you have a fantastic New Year's. Bye. So I need to take Stack